Well, all right. Good morning to you. Look at you looking all glammed out, and it looks like you on purpose
Yeah.
matched your blouse to the back of that wall that you got back there, which is very cool, by the way. I like how it contrasts with the white ceiling. Did you do this on purpose?
I think it just was. I don't know. At least you can see me. That's the point.
That's very, very true. So, hey, everybody, this is Fatemah of Keller Williams, San Francisco, a absolute trained real estate assassin and ninja. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good, Ed. How about you?
You're always looking
What's
so
happening?
fresh and like you've been up for hours. What time do you normally get up?
So I would say this morning I got up at 6, and what we try to do is we're so busy in the day, so I'm
True.
starting to practice off this year with meditation and
Oh,
affirmation
nice.
and working out. Hopefully, I can sustain that, but that's the goal.
There you go. Yeah, people ask me, so what's your morning routine like? I'm up at 5 o'clock, and of course I have a 6-year-old, as you know, so that takes up a bunch of the morning time. But I do the same thing you do, is to do some meditation, and I also like to watch what I call very content rich, but more on the societal, how is society doing and how can I be a blessing to other people kind of videos, like a Tom Bilyeu. Sometimes I even get a little crazy and watch like Gary Vaynerchuk, a little bit more of that motivation to get not just my emotional juices going, to get pumped up, but also to get some relevant content that maybe I can pass out to someone. Because here's the thing: is that we never know who watching this video is maybe suffering, right? We don't know, or they're going through something in their lives, and something that we say just kind of resonates and may make the difference in how the rest of their day goes, right? So I
Absolutely.
think that is an important part of my daily routine. So let's talk about real estate. Yeah, buddy. Here we are, mid January 2020, which is insane to me. This is going fast again, Fatima. Look at this. We're about to write off
Oh,
January 2020.
absolutely.
Would you agree that most people, I think, don't really start talking about real estate until about the end of January, maybe the beginning of February? So there's this a little bit of a holiday hangover that goes on. And I'm a big believer that when people are sleeping, there's opportunities, right?
For sure. For
So
sure.
what do you think on that vein? Are there opportunities right now that there there's not a lot of traffic going on in real estate? You think there's some opportunities to buy in the Bay Area if you're very aggressive and you're really committed to buying a house this year?
Absolutely. So what's happening right now is the clients that I have that I'm working with, we're actually looking, they put it on hold over the holidays. Started,
Yeah.
this is what happened last year. Starting January, my phone starts ringing off the hook, right? Like
Is that at
everybody,
the beginning, mid, or at the end?
I would say just, people just started like, I would say about a week and a half ago, all of a sudden, the folks that were just wanted to take a break, wanted to take it easy, or like, okay, you know what, I'm ready. Let's take a look. Yeah, so people are starting to look actively, and the people that I'm working with right now, the the contracts that I'm in right now are actually really great for the buyer. So I would say $50,000 discount.
Wow.
Um, it's
Okay.
or more. I mean,
Real
so
money.
it's a lot of money because what happens is right, like you said, it does. People are sleepy during the holidays. People don't want to get into anything. So the people who are serious in the market now are actually real buyers. And because it's been slower, the sellers haven't had much activity, so they're actually very motivated.
You know
Um,
what? It makes total sense when you put it that way. I always think about Warren Buffett. What's one of the great reasons why Warren Buffett, the greatest investor ever, has been so successful? He will tell you that one of the reasons is because he's a contrarian, right? Which means that when the cattle is going that way, he's going the opposite way. What does he do? He buys undervalued companies that fundamentally are very sound. They're great companies, but they've had some kind of event. In this case, real estate is at a discount. Why? Because it's slow. There's nothing wrong with these properties. It's the same property, but because the environment is slow, those Warren Buffett like contrarians are able to swoop up some really great deals at 50,000 or more because sellers are motivated because guess what? Everybody's still getting over the hangover of the holidays. So I think to your point, it's a great time. I think January and December's are awesome
Awesome. Hmm.
right? Because there's less traffic, there's more opportunities, less traffic. Sellers are motivated. Plus, who doesn't in December want to get a deal done so that you can get the tax write off for
And
that year and not have to wait another 12 months?
no, for sure. And the competition is less. And the people who are out
Yeah.
are serious. So people are busy on vacations, busy with their families, busy prepping for the holidays. And the folks who are out are really serious. And since the rates are still really low, I mean, well, let's talk about rates. I mean, I get that
Yeah.
question all the time. So
Yeah.
the rates compared to last month to this month.
Keep in mind that in general, right, the way rates work is the following. When there's good economic news, or even just good news in general, then rates have a tendency to go up. When there's bad economic or bad in general news, even if it's something like, for example, what was happening in Iran, that negative kind of sentiment and cloud, whether it be economic or not, has a tendency to push down rates.
Mm.
Now, rates change every single day, but in general, rates are still at historic lows. And at any given day, the rate will fluctuate up or down. So, one of the things that I like to do, and to answer that question, is that look, rates really matter when you get into contract, right? Right now, I'd say rates this week, and we're just Tuesday into Tuesday. Remember, we're about to do this whole deal with China finally, right?
Right.
Where there's easing of that tariff tension. That's good economic news. So guess what happened with rates? They've
Mm.
inched up. So one of the things that I like to do is actually follow the technical markets, and I'll show you guys here really quick, and then I'll get off this topic. But I like to be more strategic about it so that when your clients get into contract, I'm able to watch it and actually capture sometimes a temporary drop in the rate that might last sometimes literally an hour. If you look here, when people ask me, well, what's your rate? Well, it's somewhere in here. Look at this chart. This is literally, it looks almost like a seismograph, like an
Mm.
earthquake, where the rates go up and down. This is real time right now. And look how many times the 10-year treasury, which is what's used for the 30-year mortgage rate,
So
has
that it,
already changed, right?
mhm.
So I think in general, we're going to see a leveling off of rates. I think we will. We'll have temporary drops, much like real estate is having a temporary drop right now because people are not in it right now. But for the most part, I think, look, this is the year. This is the year. Do not wait for rates to start climbing. If you're serious about buying, which when's the best time to buy? When you're ready, when you're pre approved, right? When you're ready
You're
and you have
ready.
the capacity to do it, that's the time. If you ask most people who've been in this business, including you, been in it for more than 10 years, when's the best time to buy? 5 years ago.
You're right. I mean, it always seems that it's always, I don't know what people say, what's the best time to buy. Really, it's really up to you, as long as it's not going to hurt you financially and you want to secure a property. Because even 3 years ago people are like, oh, it's inching up, and now it's still pretty high. And 5 years ago it was, people still thought it was pretty high. So
Yeah,
it's relative, you know
it is.
but a big part of why people are able to pull the trigger now is that they did the planning. So if someone did pre-approvals, and pre-approval is different than pre-qualification. Pre-approval, for everybody that is not sure, you have to submit all your paperwork to your lender, make sure that they've reviewed all your documents, make sure they've gone over your profile. So when you are looking, because there is a lot of time, we have to respect your time, we have to make sure that when you're looking at it is within your price range and everything. So if you do all the work and an opportunity comes up, then you don't have to wait. You could say, you know what, I know what my price point is, I know how much I could afford, I know what my payments are going to be, I want this property. But if you don't do the work, then that's going to pass you by and you won't really be able to like harvest that.
And what ends up happening, to your point, is that you get into emergency panic mode because you find a house, you fall in love, and I haven't submitted any of my paperwork. I don't even know if I'm able to buy this house that I just fell in love with. Don't be reactive, be proactive. And to your point, get approved first, whether it's with me or anybody else. That's not the point. The point of this is that get pre approved, know your numbers, and then guess what? You're going to look luckier because when an opportunity comes, you're able to jump on it right away as opposed to scrambling to get pre approved. And believe me, we're all busy. All real estate professionals and all mortgage people are busy right now. So don't wait for us to get busier where it's going to take us longer to get you approved. Do it now. That way you go in and you can slay it. You find a property because Once, here's what's interesting about the human brain. When it knows it can, it does.
Mm-hmm.
It'll jump in. I have so many people who tell, when I ask them this question, well, what's your timeline? 6 months. Guess when they're finding a property? That weekend. It's never 6 months.
And they're going to open houses. I get this all the
Totally.
time. They're
Because
going to
they know they can.
houses.
They've been pre-approved. They know they can do it. They're
Yeah.
not waiting 6 months. They're
Well,
doing it maybe 6 minutes.
right. But then I
Six
get this
months.
all the time. Oh, I'm waiting like a year. Then they
Right.
open houses. Hey, I found something I like. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly. Like, wait, what happened with the year? No,
You're
it's
right.
because when the brain knows it can, it does. How can people get a hold of you, Fatima?
I'm sorry. It was breaking up and down. So
So
what was
how do people get a hold of you?
okay, so my telephone number is 415-756-4418. Just know too, there isn't any cost to talking about your profile or what's going on or planning.
Even pre-approvals don't cost anything. There's
Right?
zero,
People
zero,
have nothing, right? And how long does it
zero.
take to get pre-approved?
Honestly, depending on how busy we are, how many people we have, I'm going to say 2 hours. At the most, 24. It's
Okay.
fast.
And how long does the process take? Say someone says, you know what, Ed, I'm interested in getting pre-approved. I want to know what my options are. How long from start to finish, from getting the
So
paper?
for me, my process is I always want to have a conversation with you because I want to know your dreams, your wants, and your capacity, right? What's your ability to actually consummate? Once we do that, then you fill out an application. I have a very intuitive online application that literally walks you through it. That takes 17 to 22 minutes on average. It lets me know when you're complete and you've uploaded all your documents, and then the 24-hour ticker starts. And in my case, I have an underwriter look at your file right away. So it's not some person, some admin doing, no, no, no. It's a very seasoned, over 35-year pro who works for me, who's an underwriter who will underwrite your deal to get you ready to go so that we can go in with very aggressive terms, closing 14 days, right? Do it quick.
Okay, yeah. The reason why I asked is that it's a constant question. Some
Yeah.
there's a lot of there's a mind block to getting pre-approved or getting the process started, but it really isn't a big deal. I mean, probably an hour
Business.
tops sitting on your
Yeah.
computer uploading documents. If you need help, I can help. You can.
Yeah, and I have staff, as you know. And here's one thing that I want to say because it's come up, which is very strange. We've been in this business a while. Somebody asked me how much is the application because they had been charged by another lender an application fee. Okay, let me make this very clear. You should never pay an application fee. Zero, none. This is free. This is how we earn the right to be in a relationship with you, our client, and to get to serve you, not just with this purchase, but for all of your needs in the future. Nobody wants to start over and just keep starting over with a new person. We are in the relationship business. And by the way, that's one of the traits that you should look at. Is the person you're working with just interested in a commission, or are they really interested in giving you the best that is out there, whether it be rate, programs, etc.?
Right, and just being a resource. So
Yeah.
there isn't any cost. There isn't, we go at your pace. So for any reason, whether it's us or anybody else you're using, the thing is, build your relationship with your trusted advisor. Ask a question.
Agreed.
We're constantly helping people plan, whether it's a year out. And I always get this question. They say, when someone gets pre-approved, does it only last 30 days?
No, they're technically 60 days, and only because credit reports last for that long. After that, they want to refresh them. But look, a refresh on a pre-approval takes minutes. It's not, and by the way, it doesn't really require much of you. If nothing's changed, the only thing we're going to refresh is the credit report, literally, and
Right.
that takes 2 minutes. We hit a button, we refresh it. That's it.
Right. Okay. And part of the reason why someone would do it ahead of time is just make sure that once, if it is 6 months on the road or next year, to make sure that someone has the time to do the research or the planning or the homework that's needed to make it happen.
Absolutely, and not only that, that once they're pre-approved and then they talk with you, and we all know what that number is, the maximum purchase price. Guess what? They're going to look luckier because you're going to be out there looking for properties for them, and because there's no emergency, you get to find really good deals that makes it look lucky that they can actually
For
act
sure.
upon. Right? How many times have we put into a person into a property, Fatima, that already had equity in the deal?
Well, I have one
All the
right
time.
now. I
Well,
have
there you go.
my client is about to get a property, and
Crazy. I love
it
it.
it's probably 50 to 100,000 under market.
Come
So
on.
when she gets in, when she and her family get in, they could probably refinance with just even with a low down payment refinance like a few months down the road and be well.
That's what I call a second Christmas. Right?
There you go.
Awesome. Well, it was, as always, great to chat with you. By the way, guys, we do these once a week, and we're actually going to be announcing a very special event that we're going to be having, which is going to be a really cool panel kind of home expo that we're going to be curating here in San Francisco that you're not going to want to miss because it's always authentic, it's always chock full of really good information. So, thanks again. Have a great day, and I will see you next week.
Thank you, Ed. Okay, see you
All
next
right.
week.
Take care.